Okay, so first, the biggest change, I guess, of the patch, which is probably also the most controversial, is mid-boss is different, okay? So the way mid-boss works now is there's 3 rejuves dropping when mid-boss drops, and you can steal those, or well, you can hit up to 3 buffs for the first mid-boss, and then it's 4 for the second mid-boss, and so on. And they will give you basically the bonuses it used to give you. I think the spirit damage is this is new. I'm pretty sure. It used to give you only max HP, max higher fire rate, more HP. But the big deal is it's not for your entire team, and your creeps don't get affected. Okay, so you don't get that passive mega creep effect where your creeps push into the enemy base, which means you will still have to worry about lane control. Right, this is in part, this fixes death balling, because that means if you get rejuve, if you're the team that's ahead, you can't just like run down one lane as 6 and win the fight for free while the other lanes are also pushing into the enemy base, right? So macro, more important. But the main reason they made this change is because before mid-boss was a 50-50. Right? Mid-boss was incredibly powerful for the team that secured the rejuve, and mid-boss was disastrous for the team that didn't have the rejuve, right? And there was RNG to it, okay? There was skill to it, but also RNG, okay? Like, mid-boss contests were always RNG, okay? And it was an all or nothing kind of thing. So it was actually too much RNG, in my opinion. So I'm really glad that they're splitting the power. It's still value for you to kill the mid-boss because you get money as a team, but that also means the other team has a chance to at least secure one of the 3 rejuves, right? So your team doesn't get all the power. So overall, this is definitely a mid-boss nerf, right? Some people think it's really overpowered because if you have the rejuve, you come back with full HP right after. But I would argue, if you are the team that secures the mid-boss and you secure the rejuve, it's actually worse for your team. Because it only affects 3 people on your team, and it doesn't affect the creeps, right? Now, that being said, if you give the mid-boss to like your carry, obviously it's really strong, right? Because like you respawn with full HP. It's basically a free soul rebirth, right? With full HP. So they will probably have to adjust like the values. Like maybe it's too strong to respawn with full HP, or maybe it's too long, right? Yeah, maybe mid-boss lasts too long. But overall, this is a great change for the game because it promotes skill and it doesn't promote RNG, right? If you're the team that's behind and you're contesting mid-boss, there's a good chance you will steal at least one of the 3 rejuves, right? And it requires more team coordination too. Like you can plan it. Like I'm sure once the meta develops, you'll have like a team be like, okay, there's 3 rejuves, we have 3 people parrying and 3 people punching, right? Kind of, in that sense. So this is really good. That being said, again, might turn out to be still a bit too strong, right? But I think overall it's a great change. For the game. Like it might, probably the main issue right now is that it lasts too long, in my opinion, probably, right? 7 minutes is a very long time for the buff to last. So yeah, I'm like, if they go ahead in a few days and nerf the effect only lasting for like 4 minutes, right? Then suddenly mid-boss becomes a bit less gambly, and I really like that, okay? Alright, next thing. You cannot cancel someone mantling with a melee anymore. So the thing you used to do when you were high ground and the enemy used to climb up to you and you punch them off over and over. It was funny, it was cool, but it was kind of like really benefiting the person that was on high ground, right? A bit too much. So I don't think this is a bad change. I think it's good overall. Because otherwise, like a good player would always hit you with a melee, right? You could like, if you climb up a zip line behind someone, you could jump off and parry in the air and stuff, right? So there were mind games with it, but you still get value for meleeing when they're climbing up, right? Like they're still gonna be slowed. So yeah, I like it. This is also a really good change. Another really good change. So now if you climb ropes, if you take damage, you climb slower. So this entire like, zipline cheese where you would like up, down, up, down, up, down. It was funny, but it wasn't balanced, right? It was cheesy as fuck. So this is a really good change. Yeah, it's good. All right. And then they did make melees weaker. Thank you, Yoshi. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I agree it was funny, but it wasn't healthy for the game. It was abusable. Okay, so first off, you can't do weird like 180 movements anymore with melee. It's a bit like you have a bit less control of how to melee, so it's easier to parry, basically. Light melee damage reduced, except for Viscous, Calico, and Bebop, for the simple reason that these characters have an ability that does light damage, so there would be a massive nerf to them, right? I don't think light melees were necessarily the issue, to be honest. But I don't mind it being a bit weaker. Might turn out that 20% is a bit too much, but overall it's good. Heavy melee cooldown increased means if you perma heavy melee, you melee slower. And if you miss, it's a big punishment. So the entire fake out shit, it got nerfed a lot, right? So that's really, really good. That's really good. It might turn out still that these melee changes were too much, but I'd rather have too much right now than still be in a melee meta, in my opinion, you know? Parried stun duration is no longer affected by debuff resistance. Thank you, Yoshi. Thank you, Yoshi. Melee requiring more than 2 brain cells? It's got it. Real. No, this is really good. Parry bonus is no longer melee specific. This is also a big deal, right? Because some characters are not good at meleeing. So if you're like a Wraith and you parry someone, you can actually shoot them and do more damage, right? So this is good. This is all good changes, right? Again, I'm not saying every number here is perfect, but this is moving the game in the right direction, in my opinion. Okay, so this is probably the most controversial change of the patch, and I gotta be honest, I don't know if I like it in this way. Okay, this is the one thing I'll say in the patch that's kinda It does make sense that slow or big characters should be a bit slower, right? It does make sense. But that also means, as a side effect, that it is harder for fat characters to chase. And they already have usually less stamina, right? Like at least like Bebop and McGinnis, right? They're slower usually, right? Like on something like Kelvin, it doesn't matter as much because on Kelvin you have Ice Path. And Shiv Abrams, you have movement abilities that where you can catch up to the enemy. But it might turn out that it's a bit too much. That being said, this is basically a nerf to... tanky characters. Right? There's a multiple nerfs in here, by the way, that nerf tanky characters. And overall, that's good, right? Like tanks were too strong this patch, right? The entire meta was tanks and 7, right? So it might turn out that we don't like this. It's it's an interesting idea. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I did some testing yesterday with like dashes. It doesn't feel that bad, but I think it's a cool idea. That's all I'm gonna say. But if they revert this, right, I wouldn't mind. I think it's cool that they're experimenting. So this I would say is like one of the... It's definitely a nerf to tanks and tanky characters. And it's an interesting change because the only other way you could nerf tank characters is making them less tanky, right? So like I like that they're a bit slower. Yeah, it's kind of funny that Warden is not in the very tanky category because Warden is really tanky. That is true. Okay. Remove teleporters behind walkers. If you guys don't understand the implications of this change, this discourages death balling. Again, it's a nerf to perma teamfight. Why? Before, you could push a side lane as 4, 5, 6, and if the enemy team would split push another wave of yours, you could just go back, use the teleport, and be on the other wave instantly, right? So I get why some people are upset about this, because it's like, you know, you can't get from one point to the other as fast anymore. But this discourages death balling. You need to be smarter about how to position on the map as a team. Yeah, this is like this is macro. This requires more brain. It's good. Okay. I know that you've been playing a brain rot and I have been playing a brain rot meta for the last 2 months, but like the game should be about thinking, being actually smart and not. I've talked about this every single time I stream for the last month, right? Where I go, I am tired of everyone just running into each other the entire game. And this is another change that will discourage death balling. So it's a great change in my opinion. After 20 minutes, trooper respawn time is reduced. I don't know how much this is going to really do, to be honest. It's an interesting change. Trooper bounty growth reduced. So that means troopers in the mid game are a bit weaker, money-wise. But there is a jungle buff. So overall, this is just amplifying like this is amplifying, like, being smart about, like, how to position as a team, you know? Like, who farms jungle, who sits on the side lane. Do we really need to group up as 4 or 5 to fight this fight? Remove the bounce pads on top of the nursery fish market rooftop leading to back to mid. So, I think this is fine. The jump pads are really strong and still will be really strong, right? Even with less of them. I think they were very abusable. And what Lightbringer is saying is 100% true. Like, it's just like, mobility items get better, right? Like, the slower it is to get around the map, the more important movement speed and mobility items become. So, I like this. I like this. Because, yeah, in the current state, you could get away with, or in the last patch, you could get away with having very little extra stamina or movement items, and you would still be very fast if you use the jump pads correctly, right? So this is good. Also, another nerf to deathballing. You get less souls the more you group up. This is especially gonna hurt you. Once you group up as like 5 or 6, this is like it doesn't seem massive, but it is massive. That really means you're not really getting any money from troopers anymore, right? If you just deathball. That being said, I don't think deathballing is bad. There will be moments in time in this game where it's good to group up and where it's good to fight as a team. It's just that the game is not perma team fighting anymore. So this is really good. It's really good, guys. It's really good. Breakable souls per minute reduced, growth per souls reduced. So box is also a bit weaker in the mid game. Again, that doesn't mean there's less money on the map overall because jungle camps are better, right? Jungle camps got buffed, which we'll get into in a second here. Reduced comeback multiplier is a bit. I don't know what a bit means. I've only played 2 games, but it was good. Like, before, you could be up 20k, you lose 1 fight and the game is even. So that was stupid, I do think. This should make it a bit easier to hold the lead. Right? It was really stupid how you would outplay the enemy team for 20 minutes and then you would fuck up one team fight and the game was even. That wasn't fair. So that is really good too. Neutral bounties increased by 15%. Strong neutrals 25. As far as I understand, strong neutrals is anything that is higher than a tier 1, by the way. So it's... I'm pretty sure this is tier 3s and tier 2s. Yeah, jungle buffs. And this was the thing I wanted in the game. Not because I'm an AFK jungler, but jungle was basically fucking useless up until now. Because if you were jungling and then you join a team fight and the team fight didn't go your way, you would give all the money to the enemy because of unsecured souls. And now there's actually a reason to jungle again. And again, this also does promote invading the enemy jungle. Stealing enemy jungle camps, right? Taking smaller skirmishes, ganking as 2 or 3, right? All that stuff that I was talking about. No, I disagree, Juicy. I never said jungle was... Well, of course jungle was the worst option. What? I would agree with you there. Strong noodles are only tier 3 camps? Okay, good to know. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So a massive buff to tier 3s and a pretty big buff to jungle overall. This also means that characters that are good at jungling got a passive buff. Right? Keep that in mind if we're talking about 7 in a second. But that also means characters like Haze are stronger again, Wraith are stronger again. And there's really a lot of changes in this patch because there's also a lot of nerfs to like bullet resistant stuff and resist overall. So you really gotta think of the entire thing not in a vacuum, but like together. Sinners, they increase the retaliate damage so that you take more damage per punch. By quite a lot, by the way, right? Like that's like a 50% increase, by the way, of the damage you take. Heavy melee and success bonus now grants 4 buffs rather than 3. These also take a little bit longer to kill now due to the melee timing changes. Yeah, as I said, I don't think this is necessarily Sinner buffs. I think this is overall Sinner nerfs. Right? Well, not really nerfs, because they also give a bit more gold. But again, like if you do heavy melees on Sinners, you take a bit longer. And it's even more risky now, right? Yeah, it's a lot of damage extra. Yeah, it's 80 damage. Assuming you do 5 heavy melees. So that's a kind of a big deal. I like it though, you know, I think they should be risky. They should be high risk, high reward. Hero bounties are now reduced based on amount of players, similar to trooper mechanics. Means kills are less efficient rewarding when it's a big group, okay? So again, another change that discourages perma deathballing. Thank you, Yoshi. Holy shit. This patch is actually really good, I think. We have to use our brain now, chat. We have to use our brain. Small engagements. You can't just run in a 6 anymore. This is good. And I gotta be honest. I don't want to flame anyone, but I've been seeing so many people that dislike this patch. Are you stupid? Like, I feel like the only people that would dislike this are people that don't want to think in a MOBA. I guess it makes sense, because the last 2 months have only been brain dead players and streamers, basically, because nobody with half a brain wanted to play, right? But this is healthy for the game. If you think of yourself as a smart player that makes smart choices, this will make you better. This will make you climb, right? This is good. They dislike the patch because of the character balance, not because of these changes. I think this is a way bigger deal than the balance changes of heroes, right? Yeah, exactly. It feels like a lot of people are upset because they can't perma teamfight anymore and not think. Okay. Anyways, movement speed slow and shooting reduced. This is a nerf kind of to Fleetfoot, technically. And a sort of power. Because you get punished less for shooting. Which is good. I like it. Sidewalker HP increased. They were a bit too squishy. But on the same page, they removed the spirit resistance. Which is weird. Because that means against a lot of characters you can kill walkers even easier. So I don't know about this one. I can tell you I played 7 yesterday off stream and I killed sidewalkers in 2 seconds. So, yeah. I don't know. Like, I do agree that sidewalkers needed to be a bit more tanky. But then, like, this is kind of weird, to be honest. Like, them just, like, removing that. The following abilities now do 50% only do 50% damage to objectives. Last Stand, Stormcloud, Hyper Beam, and Heavy Barrage. This is really good. To be honest, Last Stand was like the best ability in the game to just cheese a walker solo. Same for Heavy Barrage. Hyper Beam and Stormcloud not as much in my opinion, but like I'm fine with this. This is good. Good changes. Trooper walk speed increased and Trooper run speed increased. And I haven't really looked at them, but they're faster. Which means if you push a wave, what that really means is if you push a wave, the enemy has to react faster, right? Because a lot of the time, if I pushed a side wave in the last patch, I would be at the enemy walker and then I would have to wait another 5 seconds for my troopers to show up, right? And now they will be there sooner, which means that backdoor protection is going to be removed sooner. So again, this encourages smart macro play. You need to be on point with where you are as a team. And if you're not, you will get punished for it. Yeah, this is good. Minor respawn curve reductions, 19 minutes, okay, this is whatever, doesn't matter. Updated a zipline knockdown to make the players go straight down and not start the stun timer until they hit the ground. And it got increased. What this actually means in reality is, if you get knocked off the zipline, you're dead. I don't know why they did that, to be honest. Oh, sorry, reduced. Either way, it feels way longer. Yeah, it feels way longer. It feels like you're actually sitting duck with these changes. Because you fall straight down and then like the stun, again, the stun timer only starts when you hit the ground, right? And that's, my point is, I don't know why they did that, to be honest. Because before, if you got knocked off the zipline and an enemy was close, you were almost certainly dead already. And now you're dead even if they're a bit further away from you. I mean, you should get punished for, like, you know, getting shot off the zipline. It's a skill gap, so I guess it's fine. But like, just know that if you get knocked off the zipline, you're probably dead now. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, right? The zipline is also the best way to get away from the enemy. Like, if you do the zipline tech where you jump on and jump off immediately and do the air dash and you get really far away, it was really strong, right, to get away. So, okay. Weapon changes. Vesto shot, nerf. Makes sense, that item was really strong. It's still really good. If you're consistent with hitting it on enemy heroes, it's still the best heal in the game, right? It's very good. I don't know if... in my games yesterday, it felt like sometimes it's better to buy healing rights. So I guess it's a fine nerf, right? You can't just mindlessly just be in lane and shoot creeps. You will get healed less, so... Yeah. It's a high skill kind of ability, actually, if you think about it, right? You need to hit your shot, but if you hit it, you get a lot of heal. So I actually really like what they're doing to Resto Shot. Fleetfoot nerf makes sense. That item was insane. Still insane item, by the way, but like it's a bit less insane. Bullet resistance. Keep this in mind. There's a lot of nerfs to these items and heroes in terms of bullet resistance. Melee charge, bullet resistance reduced. Okay. Spirit Shredder bullets. More shred on the enemy. And that item was a bit weak, so, you know, it's 1%. It's not the biggest deal, but... Slowing bullets, small buff after build-up is achieved. Debuff duration is refreshed rather than starting build-up again. Okay, so it kind of works like... it works like Infernus Burn now. Where you can keep on applying it over and over. So it's a buff, right? I don't think it's a big buff. I don't think slowing bullets are super strong. But definitely more playable now. Swift Striker... Last patch they reduced Swift Striker to 18% and now they're back to 20. I don't know why. It didn't need a nerf in the first place. It's just kind of funny. And they're really trying to make Express Shot work on primary, but it's just not good enough to make it work on primary. I don't know. Who is this even good on? I was saying like maybe Holiday. You know, like very slow firing left clicks, I guess. Abrams, maybe. Okay. Paradox Pocket? No, this is the normal primary. On Paradox, you don't want to use it on your primary. You want to use it on your Carabine, right? I think it's a pretty... I think it's a pretty mid item, a pretty niche item, but I'm fine with that. Toxic Bullet nerf. Quite a lot, actually, by the way. And now scales with Spirit Power, though. So if you have more Spirit, you do more... Like, I don't know what the math is here. We'll go in game and check it out, but overall, it's definitely a nerf for most characters. Berserk bullet resist halved. And thank God, by the way, like that item was way too good on tanks, right? Like this is actually such a big deal because like people will just buy this on tank and have like free 16% bullet resist, right? Plus that effect. So this is definitely a tank nerf. And again, every single one of those nerfs to bullet resist reduction is also a buff to gun, right? So this is good. Blood Tribute got buffed. And I feel like we're getting to the point where Blood Tribute actually should be an item that is playable, right? Like it got buffed triple. And I think the healing reduction, that's a big deal. I don't know, man. I don't know. I wanna try this item out. It should be good now on certain heroes. I think it's good. Toxic bullets scale to 0.5% with 100 spirit. Okay, but so it's a nerf, definitely, for most characters, right? Because most characters will not build 100 spirit on average. Yeah, guys, shift maybe, yeah, true. Okay, so weighted shots, nerfs, interesting nerfs, by the way. I like the way they nerfed it. Like they're actually gonna, the negative effects it gives you are a bit more noticeable now, right? Like especially the stamina recovery. That's actually a big deal, right? Like now it's like double the slow in terms of recovery. So I do like that it's supposed to be an item that makes you slower but more tanky, right? So I like the idea. I don't think the bullet velocity is gonna affect most characters still, but like, you know, the stamina recovery reduction definitely will. Hunter's Aura grants 1 sprint. Kind of weird change. Sprint is kind of irrelevant anyways, doesn't matter. Spirit Rend, Spirit Resist reduction increased. They buffed that item. This is kind of crazy to me. Like, wasn't Spirit Rend like already the best Spirit Shredder in the game? This patch is trash, only nerfs heroes, no buffs? No, that's not true. That's not true. By them nerfing tanks, they basically buffed all other characters. I disagree. Yeah, they listen to me, guys. I mean, you gotta think of this, it's in combination with all the melee nerfs, right? So there's fucking Crushing Fist cheese, again, big nerf to bullet resistance, and a reduction to the range. Fuck melee abusers. Good change, good change, good change. Ammo pacing round nerf, by the way. It's kind of weird. I don't think that item was that good. And Shadow Weave, overall buff. Lower cooldown, right? And you can use it on melee characters, I guess. I mean, it's good for, this is like, actually, I don't know if it's ever gonna be playable, but like technically you could use this on Abrams, right? Where you go out of Shadow Wave, charge, melee, and you do more melee damage. Capacitor damage increased by 5. Actually, a 10% buff, you know? Pretty big deal. Spellslinger is still a useless item. I don't know, this is not going to do anything. The cooldown or the duration was never the issue, because you would always use a spell within 10 seconds. So I don't think it's going to do anything. Just don't buy Spellslinger on any character, it's bad. Guardian Ward, cooldown reduction, so a slight buff. And nerf to shielding. Both spirit and weapon. I'm kind of sad. Those items are really good, and I like them on my characters too, right? Still think it's a really playable item. And it no longer scales with spirit power, but scales with boons. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, it was a bit too good. It is playable on guys, sorry. Spellslinger is playable on guys. Return Fire nerf, finally. Still an amazing item, for the record. But like, they finally realized it's way too overstated for, you know, the price. And again, this hurts tank characters, so it's good. It's good. Anything that hurts Shiv is good. By the way, we'll get into Shiv in a second. Some people think the character is playable. He's fucking dog shit. Veilwalker, buff. Actually makes Veilwalker like a playable item now. It does heal you. And every 12 seconds, slow cooldown. Metal Skin buff. Makes sense. Debuff remover nerf. They really want people to buy Trophy Collector. Spoilers, it's still a trash item, don't buy it. Spirit Resilience nerf by 5%. Divine Barrier buff. I think Divine Barrier is getting back to where it's actually an insane item, because it does cleanse anything, right? Yeah, no, Veilwalker is a very good item now. G-Death effect no longer gets pierced by kill events like Killing Blow or Guided Owl. I mean, this item is still useless, by the way, but like, you know, I guess good quality of life change. Rusted Barrel, actual big buff, right? 5% shred for 800 is actually a big deal. And cooldown reduced, so this is like actually probably like the best anti-gun item now in the game. To be honest. Like, I think you just buy this. Suppressor nerf, makes sense, that item was stupid. I think it's still insane, by the way. It's just a bit less insane. Cold Front nerf, makes sense. I hate that item. Slowing X, duration increased. Small buff, doesn't really matter, right? Bullet resist shredder. Actually, I'll write this down. I think we're getting to a point where this item is very good. Right? It got nerfed multiple, it got buffed multiple times. It's very good now if you're running like gun shred. I think there's like a good bang for your buck item if you want to fill your slots with a spirit item. And they really want people to buy Spirit Sap, which is weird because like Silence Wave is already good, you know. But I guess they want like people to stay on Spirit Sap for a bit, I guess. It's buffs, you know. This in effect is also buffs Silence Wave, obviously. Disarming Hex is now 20-second cooldown. So they're moving away from just having passive resists, and now you have to use actives to shut down gun characters, but you have the option, right? I think the biggest winner in this patch item-wise is Disarming Hex and Rusted Barrel. If you play against a gun character, you probably want to buy this item. Like, it seems very good. Surge of Power is an interesting one. This is a nerf if you put it on abilities that you spam, but it's a buff if you put it on abilities that benefit from the spirit power. So it's a buff to like 7's power surge, but it's a nerf. No. It's not a straight up nerf. It is not. Because if you put it, I have to pause the music for this. If you put this on like power surge, it doesn't matter. It just lasts longer and gives more spirit, right? Because you would only use it once anyways. If you put it on cards, on Wraith for example, then it's a nerf because now you can spam it less and it procs less, right? So it's not really, it's an adjustment. I have to do testing on this because I do think is actually playable now on 7. If you put it on a 7.3, but again, it might also be less playable now on something like Wraith. Yeah. Okay, so Tank Buster is the talk of the town. Yeah. I didn't adjust my builds yet, Juicy. This is very good. It's very good now, right? It goes through any sort of resist, so... This might be a bit overtuned, to be honest. This might be a bit overtuned. You have what adjusted? I did not adjust after patch. Yeah, this might be a bit busted, guys. Low main tested tank buster numbers is not that crazy. Of course, the damage itself is not that crazy, but you have to keep in mind, if you go up against a tank that has a lot of resists, this is like insane, right? Tank busted. Decay buff. And some smaller changes to like those items make sense. Alright, guys. It's always a happy day when I can say they nerfed Bebop again. I hate Bebop. I'm gonna take a bite out of my pizza. So, this is insane. Right? That's an insane nerf. That means on max spoons you don't even have 10%. Right? So this is insane. Just means he's way less tanky in lane. You can actually shoot him. Nerf to uppercut. Nerf to duration of uppercut. Nerf to grapple. And nerf to duration of grapple. I guess the devs really don't like Bebop. I do think it was a bit too good, again, but yeah. I know once you get to max spoons he has like 10, but in most games you don't even get to max spoons. This is massive Bebop nerfs. Maybe a bit too hard, to be honest. I don't know why they nerfed him that hard. Small buff to Dynamo, kind of weird. I don't know. I feel like it was like pretty easy to hit kinetic pulls no matter what, you know? So, okay. Spirit Snare Curse lasts longer and Guided Owl cooldown reduced. Actually, this might not sound like a lot, but Guided Owl is like the main tool that Great Talon can use to win his team the game, you know? So it is pretty big. It's a pretty big buff. He needed something, so... Kelvin, Arctic Beam no longer bounces off objects. Small nerf, doesn't really matter. Guys got a pretty big buff back to a Essence Bomb. It does make sense. Guys, I think, was a bit too weak last patch. What this really means is, overall these changes, it's gonna make the Essence Bomb a bit more consistent again. Especially in lane, like you're gonna get hit more. Because it was pretty easy to dodge this ability in the last iteration of it. So, I don't mind it. It's fine. McGinnis, nerf to Health Baboon. McGinnis Spectral Wall, fix the bug when aiming. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, so turrets, less tanky, and McGinnis, less tanky. Health reduction. Good. Smile. Mirage, base bullet damage reduced by 10%. This sounds like a lot, but it's only the base bullet damage. It's not that big. McGinnis nerf for no reason? McGinnis was an S tier character. Or an A+ tier character, what are you on about? McGinnis was very strong. Okay. Paradox, bullet damage scaling increased by 10%. This is a bigger buff than the nerf to Mirage. Like, scaling buffs are kind of scary. I don't know how much stronger this is gonna make Paradox, but this is like a big buff. This doesn't look like a lot, but it's big. Pocket Affliction initial current HP damage increased. I don't know why we're buffing Pocket. Genuinely. The Tank Buster buff is also buffed to Pocket, right? Like, Pocket was already really good. I don't know why we're buffing Pocket, but, you know. Whatever, I guess. Rage now only builds up from damaging players. Rage build up for all damage types increased by 20%. Rage decay duration increased from 9 to 12. Some people think this is a buff. It's not. It's... Okay, guys. So the biggest thing on Shiv is this. If you halve the duration of bloodletting, that means he takes the damage twice as fast. And you notice it at any point in the game. Shiv dies way easier at any point in the game. This is like a massive nerf to his tankiness. Like, massive. And I have to play more, but I kind of want to say they probably over-nerfed him. They probably over-nerfed him. I think Shiv is a dogshit character now, probably. Like, you know, I'm down for Shiv being pretty bad, but like, you don't think he's over-nerfed? I think he might be too weak. Listic disagrees, guys. I think I only played 2 games yesterday. I'll have to play more today. But it felt like I really noticed in like fights I could actually kill him like way faster. I think I like the idea where they're going with, like where bloodletting has a lower cooldown. So the idea is you go in, take a lot of damage, you press bloodletting, right, and then you defer the damage. But like I just don't think the compensatory buffs are enough to make up for the nerfs. Yeah, rip melee Shiv, guys. Rip the brain dead Shiv players. But yeah, I mean Shiv needed nerfs, right? Now, I'll be honest with you guys, okay? 7 is still OP. 7 is still OP. If you were an AFK and the ult presser only, that playstyle is a bit weaker, obviously, right? You have a higher cooldown on Stormcloud, a bit less damage, right? But if you are playing Power Surge 7, this really doesn't affect you at all, right? And the thing is, 7 is the best farmer in the game, and they buff jungle, right? So you can like easily get even more money than before on 7, right? So he's technically weaker. And I do like, for the record, I do like that they're nerfing the ult. I think the ult is stupid. Like, I think it's low skill shit. Like, for all I care, they could make the ult even weaker, right? I do like that 7 is gonna be a bit harder to play, technically, right? You gotta be a bit smarter. You can't just like go into the fight press 4. Listic thinks Shiv is still good, just not super broken. Maybe I'm judging it too harshly, but like from what I've played, he feels like really squishy. He feels like so much easier to kill now. I don't know. If you want to play Shiv, by the way, you definitely have to go for something like knife Shiv, I guess. Or gun is still like playable for sure, but like you can't like full tank everything anymore. It feels like you're more like, I think knife Shiv might be coming back. But anyways, so this really only affects the AFK for press 4 7s. If you play Power Surge carry 7, not much changed. And you notice the movement speed a tiny bit, but not by much. It's fine. It's fine. It's good. It's good. Might like I don't know. I think the 7s in low rank were so dominant because of the ult. So I'm happy that my low rank players can now breathe freely. Or breathe a bit more freely. But on high rank, this character might still be busted. Oh yeah, that's another thing, yeah. You can shred walkers so fast on 7 because they don't have spirit resist anymore. You can just like fucking kill them instantly with like a ball and like a power surge. Why did they remove TPs to walkers? I explained it earlier. The reason is to discourage brain dead gameplay, which is perma 6 stacking in one lane and then getting to teleport to the other lane for free while your team has no macro. This is a patch for smart players, guys. So if you were a brain dead perma teamfight player, there is a fix for you. I can help you out. You uninstall Deadlock and you install Marvel Rivals instead. Okay? Vindicta. Crow tier 1 bounce, no longer bounces of objectives. Okay, it's whatever. And stake tier 3 reduced from 2 meter to 1 meter. I think it's still like really strong, by the way. Like Vindicta is still insane. I don't think this nerf did enough to make her like, yeah, I think she's still insane. Keep in mind, right, like, what really happened this patch is Gun got better again overall. Gun is better, and characters that don't want to perma teamfight are better, right? So, Vindicta is a great character where you just roam as 2 and you go in, you know, you stake someone, your teammate kills them, right? So, like, Vindicta is gonna be really strong this patch, I think. Viscous, Puddle Punch buffs, small ones, pretty good, I don't mind. Warden nerfs to base bullet damage, and the growth is a bit higher instead. But overall, Warden nerfs. Last stand lifesteal versus non-hero is reduced. So it's overall nerfs to Warden, which makes sense. Warden was a bit too good still. I don't know how weak he's gonna be. I think it's fine. But like looking at it, like he will be quite a lot weaker in lane. Because like reducing the base bullet damage from 17 to 15 is a big deal, right? Like he will be quite a bit weaker in lane. Wraith, this is also a thing I suggested. Thank you, Yoshi. I don't know yet if she's gonna be good / playable, but this helps out her early game, right? Overall, she will have the same peak damage, but she will do a bit more damage in lane. Otherwise, I do think she's still kind of weak of a character. Like, I would like a bit more, but this is a step in the right direction, where Wraith is not completely fucking useless in lane and then mid-game fights. And the thing is, Wraith is good at farming, and Wraith is good at 1v1s, so that's also gonna help her out, right? So there is a passive buff with this patch to Wraith. So I'm actually excited to play her. Yamato Altfire, base damage reduced, thank God. Thank God, bro. It was about time. And yeah, I get that, like, at max boons, it's gonna be about the same, if not even a bit higher, but like, that means you can't get, like, perma right-click in lane. Well, you can still get perma right-click in lane, but it's not as stupid anymore. So yeah, I think overall, this patch is fucking amazing. Big winners to the patch. Heroic Aura is not in the patch notes, but is probably, like, insane now, because Heroic Aura does give bullet resist to your entire team. And they just nerfed 20 million items that give bullet resist. Heroic Aura also buffs creeps and buffs creep movement speed, right? Which means, because split pushing is going to be more viable again, right? Because there's not going to be perma team fighting, hopefully. Heroic Aura is going to be an insane item. So that's one item I really want to point out. Heroic Aura, really good. Veil Walker, really good. It's a lot of sustain and heal and a lot of initiation tools. It's going to be insane on characters like Holiday. Holiday already bought Veil Walker. I think Veil Walker, big winner in this patch. Bullet Resist Shredder, I think, is at the point where you probably want to buy it. If you have like a hybrid character that does gun damage, I'll probably try it out on Wraith. Surge of Power, probably a bit better on like long abilities. Like I'm saying Wraithful Auto or 7's Power Surge. And then for, yeah, Suppressor is still really, really good. Otherwise, I would say, I mean, this is early predictions. I'm going to play a lot today. I'm really excited to play. I think the way you want to think about it is gun characters are a bit better, and spirit nukers are also a bit better, and tanks are a bit weaker. And also, team fighters are a bit weaker, right? I don't think the big winners are supports. I disagree. I think the big winners are actually late game carries. Because again, jungle is valuable now. So if you play something like 7, Wraith, Infernus, etc., if you're really good at macro, split pushers also, they will benefit a lot from this patch, right? And Wraith in specific, where, you know, you don't want to split push, you want to split push more again, and you don't need to necessarily show up in those early team fights, is going to help her out a lot. Same for Haze. Haze is really good at clearing jungle, like a carry Haze. And tank-wise, I think Abrams is probably number 1. Like, Abrams still seems really, really good. And with Shiv being a lot weaker, I think Abrams is going to be like the dominant frontline tank. And yes, that also means that Mirage is... I mean, Mirage did get a tiny nerf, but that also means that Mirage is going to be a bit weaker overall, in my opinion, because Mirage is not great at clearing jungle, right? So anything that clears jungle is better. Anything that has their own HP and healing is good. So yeah, early predictions. I think Abrams is going to be insane. I think Great Talon is going to be playable. I think Haze is going to be better again. Infernus. Whereas characters like Yamato, Shiv, yeah, McGinnis are gonna suffer a bit more, in my opinion. Yeah, like those massive AoE teamfight abilities are also gonna suffer. That's why I want to say Dynamo and Lash might be a bit weaker overall. Yeah, Pocket is really, really good now. I don't know why they buff Pocket. I think Pocket is gonna be S tier from my predictions. Because Pocket can 1v1 nuke anyone, right? And even more so now with the Affliction buff and the Tank Buster buff, right? So I'm very scared of Pocket. Isn't it a buff to Mirage that they remove Walker TP? Technically, yes. But again, everything else about Mirage is weaker, right? So